Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. So I want to talk about something. What I noticed yesterday um, at the Lomachenko fight. Here's what I noticed, and I believe this went unnoticed. Terence Crawford, you got to be careful, man. That and be careful and make sure Top Rank has your best interests at heart, because I saw a couple of things yesterday that kind of deterred me. Um, and for those of you who say I don't like Terence Crawford, shit, I ain't never I ain't never picked against him, so I don't know where that's. I've never picked against Terence Crawford in a fight, So um, there you have it. Egus and Bob Arum are forming a great relationship. And with him having 3 champions, you understand? I know one is with one is not signed to Top Rank, Lomachenko, and the other kid who just won last week. Hopefully, Adonis Stevenson is doing well. That gives them leverage. It's similar to in college basketball when a kid comes from another high school and they recruit that kid to get to the top prospect. The kid is going to play because they want to honor the relationship that they have with the junior that's coming, that's going to be a senior next year. And 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 with that being said, also notice with the ESPN programming yesterday, they did a lot of lead-ins to the fight. I saw it on my guide. I didn't record it. I didn't watch it. But I saw like a Lomachenko special at 2 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. And they had a whole lead-in building up Lomachenko on this fight. And I've never seen that on a Terence Crawford bill. Obviously, it's very apparent ESPN is pushing Lomachenko. They have him the #1 pound-for-pound fighter ahead of Terence Crawford. And I realized yesterday, Lomachenko doesn't have a home. Deontay Wilder, just so for comparative analysis, Deontay Wilder did 17,000 people in a state he's never fought in before. 17,700 people. Lomachenko was fighting in a Hulu theater with 5,000 people. Terence Crawford did about roughly 8,000. I believe it was 50% full, if I'm not mistaken, against Jeff Horn, 8,200 or something like that. So just to give you guys comparative analysis, Terence Crawford is a bigger star on Top Rank than Lomachenko. But ESPN is pushing him much heavier because I can tell by the programming. And Bob Arum has to honor his relationship with Egus because now he has 2 world champions, And Egus is a recruiting machine right now. Like he's hot. All 3 of his fighters, all 3 have belts, And I just want Terence Crawford to be astute. Bomac, and his team, because make sure that you're getting equal pay. You know what I mean? Make sure that there's no if there's no representation, there's no taxation. And I don't know what goes on in the back room. I don't understand your contract. I've never seen it. But make sure you are getting as good a treatment on ESPN programming and on and in PR. Just to let you know, Terence Crawford, Top Rank doesn't approve black media. It's very challenging and very hard. So I want you to fully understand that they're not pushing you as best they could because, one, you could do a better job, obviously, Bomac and Terence Crawford and whoever else is on that team. We know you guys can do a whole lot better. And in addition to you guys doing a whole lot better, Top Rank could do a whole lot better because no one understands the Terence Crawford story better than black media. You can talk about what you want. I don't care. Fred always talking about race. This really isn't about race. This is about just practicality. So Terence Crawford, just understand where I'm coming from. I know you don't agree with everything that I say. I know your family members gets on me a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm here to raise your profile. At the end, and you may think it's positive, you may think it's negative, you may think I dislike you. I don't dislike you at all, but I know what Top Rank is currently doing to you because of their embedded relationships. So uh, be conscientious. Bo Mack and Terence Crawford needs to speak up for black media. Like you say, did he use the term "my people"? Yeah, Terence Crawford used the term on his Instagram. My people always want to talk down upon each other, not support one another, or something like that. And I'll say this to you, Terence Crawford: make sure that your media is there at your fight in March, because without that, you don't get the push. And I don't know how much you value endorsements. I don't know how much you value your post-fighting career. But if you don't become a household name over the next 2 years, you've done all this basically just for pay, not for potential earnings. You're always going to be a superstar in Omaha, Nebraska. You're always going to have the respect of your local civilians. But if you want to have 15,000 in um, uh, Las Vegas, Nevada, 15,000 at Madison Square Garden, 15,000 at the Staples Center, you have to align yourself. You have to push yourself. And I don't believe Top Rank has your best interest currently right now. Things could change. But just based off of, I believe you guys have a new person in charge of credentials. Um, but moreover than all of that, be careful and understand. And I would advise Bo Mack and Terence Crawford to look at Saturday's programming on ESPN. Outside of the college basketball games and the Heisman Trophy and all that, look, there was two Lomachenko programs on. One was an actual Lomachenko program, and the other one was the build up to the fight. Now I know 100% they didn't have a Terence Crawford 30-minute ESPN special. And I'm uncertain of what the pre-fight programming looked like as it relates to Terence Crawford in terms of the commentary that led up to it. But it was literally a 2-hour promotion on a Lomachenko built leading up to that fight, if I look at my TV guide. And you deserve that as well, Terence Crawford. So even the announcers were calling him Teddy Atlas on down, pound for pound, best fighter in the world. They really basically said he had no kinks in his armor. He was special. He was spectacular. And I'm sure they would say the same thing about you because you're on Top Rank and everyone talking gets paid through Top Rank. So I would say that. But just be conscientious. Like, be overtly conscientious of what's going on in the back rooms. Understand your contract. Understand your buyout. Understand, like, I know you're slated to fight 3 times next year. Hopefully it happens, or at least 3 times next year. Hopefully it happens. At the rate you're going, and I say this out of practicality, not out of disrespect, you're going to have to be on your hands and knees to get a big fight with a PBC fighter, because your numbers doesn't equate to a 50-50 split. Yeah, you got the WBO belt, but everyone in boxing knows the WBO belt is a top-ranked belt. So quote unquote, on the other side of the fence, on the other side of the street, end quote, the WBO belt doesn't really have any merit, per se. It doesn't have any like power. So and your attendance doesn't correlate with a 50-50 split basically with anyone on the PBC side. Danny Garcia, he puts 15,000 butts in the seat and at Barclay. So and he travels well too. I'm uncertain of what he did at Staples Center, but he travels well. So what he did against Guerrero when he won the WBC belt. So I don't know what he did, but above all this, basically what I'm saying to you, Terence Crawford, is one, Bob Arum is embedded with Egus, and he has every right to be because uh, Egus has he has two world champions with him, so he would be more inclined to listen with both ears to him as opposed to listening to you with one ear. So, and two, make sure people who look like you are covering you. Um, uh, Team Crawford, if you care enough. I don't know if you care. I don't know if you want to speak to your PR team because that is the only way. And I mean this cold blooded. I mean this as if ESPN can't build your brand, I'll say this again, if ESPN cannot make your brand bigger, right, and you only have, and your stadium is only 50% filled in Las Vegas, who's gonna do it? Like, like Deontay Wilder has been on ESPN more times than you this week than arguably you have in your 3 fights on ESPN. So I think you've had 3 fights, one on ESPN Plus and I believe 2 on regular, or was it just? Well, anyways, it's just been this year. So, so just pay attention. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.